Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Invited this man.
Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn ugly ass on.
Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, chapter 396. It is the second day of the week, aka the special beam cannon workout. I'm feeling very good right now. Very excited for this workout. But anyways, to the main subject matter for today. Pokemon. So the main reason why I wanted to discuss this is literally, it had been on the back of my mind for a little bit, but the video and the intro that I've already showed right here is very much an example of just where the franchise has gone. Now, I used to like Pokemon. I used to be into it. The first 151, you give me like half an hour, I could probably name at least 100 Pokemon from that generation. After that, it gets dicey. I never got into it after that. I wasn't into I wasn't into gold and silver. I wasn't into that one or anything like that. I was red, yellow, and blue. I was a big fan of the franchise when it first initially started. I missed everything else after that because I moved on. I think I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Right after. But the thing is, nowadays, Pokemon is its own juggernaut, it's its own thing, it's its own brand. You know, Pikachu has become one of the national icons. It has a Macy's Day Parade balloon, so you know you've made it once you get one of those, you know? So it is a cultural zeitgeist of a thing. The issue with it that I have to say now is the entire gamification that has happened to Pokemon. And I think that it is probably the best example of gamification totally ruining the underlying idea of it. Sure, there's other things on top of it. You can still go to the Pokemon Center and they still make games or whatever. But the main underlying thing where they make a shit ton of money is via the cards. But the thing is that makes it more interesting and worse in essence is that it's aimed for kids, but adults are buying it and marketing it and taking advantage of it. So in today's episode, we're going to be looking at just the duality of Pokemon, generally my thoughts and opinions on it, specifically maybe the games I'll touch upon, but I really want to just look at the idea that basically they have really weirdly cornered a market of people that just cannot let it go / gamblers that now have kind of made it so there is a weird association with gambling and card pack opening and all that other stuff with Pokemon. Very strange association. It's like furries and dog fuckers. It's just going to always be there. So now it's been kind of ruined. So with that being said, we'll get more into details and all that other stuff when we get to By the Base. All right, so start this day off with squats, which are pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. Pokemon! Gotta catch them all. So the main reason why I wanted to discuss this is because that video in the front is really the epitome of what is wrong with the Pokemon franchise nowadays. Is the fact that it is something that is meant for kids, really, is now taken over by a sect of adults that are addicted to gambling for small pieces of plastic, or cardboard that are covered in plastic. But the issue there is that basically the Pokemon company has realized that this is the money maker, and thus they have basically gamified the entire Pokemon card game. Obviously, this has been happening for a long time now. This happened even when I was a kid. I could have gotten easily into this. I collected the cards when I was a kid, but there was less of a obvious trying to just capture the market type of thing like they do now. The amounts of sets, the amounts of packs, the amounts of scalpers, the amounts of people going into stores to hide certain boxes so then that way they can come back later because there are limits to how many you can buy at once because of the fact that people are hiding them because they want to buy all of them all at once. It's a very shitty thing that has happened to this franchise, which I originally, when I wanted to make this video a long time ago, I'm talking about when the channel started, I wanted to just talk about Pokemon and how cool it was and how, you know, it was a good part of my childhood. I moved on. I wasn't into like gold or silver or anything like that. I missed out after all of that. I grew out of it. I went to Yu-Gi-Oh! But I think now I'm very glad I missed out on the rest of it, honestly. I left that part of childhood because I can look at some of those Pokemon and be like, oh, that's cool and all, but I'm not sitting here trying to open a bajillion packs over and over again trying to delude myself that I'm not addicted to it, because there are people out there that think that this isn't an addiction, which is insane to me because they are just delusional. They're literally self-delusional just because they'll justify it with either saying, oh, I'm getting a piece of cardboard, or, oh, it's part of a kid's game. How could I ever do this? And that makes absolutely zero sense. It could all still be the same. These people are literally mentally ill. So that's why it's very rough and tough when talking about Pokemon nowadays, because the association between the trading card game and the actual franchise is there. And no matter how hard these people try to pull away or try to like separate the two, they're intertwined to the point where it's basically seen as one group. The Pokemon company has decided to take money over expelling the people that are doing bad habits like scalpers and resellers, and making it so that now they have been forever associated. That's why I always say gatekeeping is very important, especially when you're doing things like this, where you're doing soft gambling, because you invite the riffraff of terrible people and thus making your market worse. You have now made it so that a franchise that is for children is not for children at all, and is now just seen as something as a front for older people to gamble softly on. And I think that this is almost one of the end stages of gamification of literally everything. Sure, it's aimed for the adults, and really only the adults can actually do half the shit because they are being terrible and getting to these stores before a kid can actually get them. Or even worse, they're making it so the kids get horrible packs so that they don't have that magic of pulling a rare card like it once may have been. And then thus they're basically screwed over, and then they're never really going to want to do it, thus making it so Pokemon is losing the main fan base later on in the world, because they're going to know that they're going to have to compete with older people that are trying to get these magical packs with certain cards in them. So it's kind of like, if they don't step in and decide to gatekeep some of these cards for younger generations, these kids are going to be they're just going to be either priced out or just say, fuck it, what's the point if I know I'm going to get shit, or scalpers are going to come in and take the good shit. It's stupid. It's like these older fans are cannibalizing the younger fans without even truly realizing it. And the reason why this is such a terrible thing is because this is almost a microcosm of what happens with a lot of these franchises, because a lot of the time they end up allowing the gamification of their franchises, which makes the rest of it worse. And they don't realize that that's what takes things over. A lot of the time you'll see this in different groups, aspects, or niches, or all of cultures really, where a terrible sect of the culture will make it so that the entire thing is colored like that. I always talk about furries, because regardless of what furries you think of, furries are very interesting, weird people. But because they allow everybody in there, they also allow people that do harm to animals, and thus they will forever be associated with those people. So congratulations to those groups who got to gatekeep, because now you're animal fuckers. And because of this gamification that has gone on, I don't want to introduce this stuff to like my nephew, because then he could possibly either one, get into the gamification, which would be terrible on long-term scale, or as well, B, let's say he does like open a card pack and it sucks, and then that's it. Like the magic of what once was is lost, because these people have cannibalized the future fans, and they don't even want to realize it because the money is too great now.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercise is not filmed, none. Exercise is skipped, also none. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. And Pokemon. And what's funny is that I have thought about doing this for quite some time. It was actually one of the first things that was on my list to do for a long time now, because I just wanted to talk about Pokemon. It was going to be less about the entire gamification of it, but more so just, it was a cool franchise. Things happen, it's evolved to, greater and greater things. It's been something that has become a staple now, literally. Like I said before, it's a cultural cornerstone for a lot of people. Pikachu is recognizable throughout the world and all that other stuff. So it is something that is popular. But I think that as time progressed and as things have gotten kind of worse throughout
just time, really, and through the 2-year period that this channel has been alive, I've just seen the degradation and the just nastiness that is behind the scenes, or at least the Pokemon trading card epidemic that's really taken over, that makes it so that this once, you know, casual trading card thing became now what is essentially lottery tickets for certain people, and are now hoarding these things, or even, let's say, taking scales to measure each pack to see which one has a hollow or not. And it really does suck, because somebody in the comments in that Twitter thread just said, like, my kids are the ones who are buying these, so thanks, dude. I'm getting like the shit ones for my kids who are just going to get disenfranchised, you know? And that's really what it comes down to, where something like this gets perverted to the point where it's no longer for the kids, really, and it sucks. It's like, all right, I get it. There are people out there that are a little bit older who want to do some stuff like that are connected to their childhood roots. That's whatever. That's a whole other story for a whole other day. But for this type of stuff particularly, you could really see how much these people really attack the hard aspect of it, to the point where it's not even like fun. If I went to go buy a booster pack, I can't even buy one. I have to either get there first or buy one from a scalper. You know, it's not even like it's not an enjoyable thing to do, and especially for those who are the target demographic, which is just kids. I think that when you start introducing gamification to things like that, it just makes it so it becomes sullied and kind of disgusting. And then the entire everything else surrounding it kind of looks at it like a little funny. If I get like, if I got my nephew something Pokemon related, I kind of hope he doesn't get into it, because then he might want Pokemon cards, and then that causes a whole other host of issues, because then I could be accessing him into a gambling addiction that he doesn't even realize is happening. And you're like, oh, that's a little too crazy of a thought, but realistically, it's not. Kids will go to these types of things and not realize that they want to gamble, and because they don't know it. It's just disguised in the vein of whatever they want. I literally said in this video that I went from Pokemon to Yu-Gi-Oh! 2 different card games that have each other's kind of like systems and kind of similarities, but after Yu-Gi-Oh also left my life, but that is also another trap that could have been, you know, but that's also not as cultural mega zeitgeist as Pokemon is to this day. I think that generally it's just a shell of its former self. It sucks that it's become this, and I don't want to say, like, if you enjoy the games and enjoy the other stuff, that's fine. I'm not gonna fucking sit here and be like, well, you child, or whatever the fuck people like to say, because I have shit like this in the background. You know, that's just stupid. It's like, all right, whatever. I don't give a shit. But the thing is, now, because of everything else that's surrounding it, now I will see anything associated with it as lesser value, because then it's like, oh, you're probably also doing the trading cards. You're also probably doing X or Y. You know, it's a weird association, but my brain can't let go of it, because this is what I see now. This is videos like at the front here. So it's just a sad state of affairs, to say the least, especially because it's something for kids, really. I think that's the main thing. It's almost up there with like a Bluey adult, but that's a different conversation for a different day. But with that being said, or a Disney adult, and with that being said, tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. This one was a little bit more random, but I would love to know your thoughts and opinions if you have any experience with Pokemon. Hate it, love it, don't care for it, love Digimon instead. Please let me know in the comment section down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy, stay safe out there, and stay warm, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.